Hey, what's going on guys, Mantif here, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. So as many of you know, my OBS video is actually now my most popular video on my channel, so today I'm going to be making a part 2 to that. I'm going to be showcasing my new updated render settings and a lot of bug fixes for you guys encountering problems with the first video. Now of course, just a disclaimer, you are going to need a pretty decent PC to run these settings. This is obviously because we're going to be recording in a high FPS, so we're going to be using a technique known as frame blending. I'm also going to be showcasing how to upscale your video to 4K so YouTube places the best encoder on it and it looks clean as possible. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Alright, so I've jumped over to my desktop here, and as you can see, we have OBS, and this is going to be the version 25.0.8. Now you're probably asking, why this specific version? Well, I've experimented with a bunch of versions ranging from all the way from 20 to 26, and to be honest, this one's the most stable, especially for my graphics card, and I've just had the best of luck with this one, so I'm not saying go with this one specifically, but I will be leaving a download link in the description below if you are interested. So for my Minecraft itself, I like to use display capture, and I use this versus game capture because I've just had better luck with FPS. I get around similar. I mean, I'd say I get around like 50 FPS less if I use game capture. Anyways, I'm going to be going into my settings right here and try to copy down everything that I have. So first, navigating to the output tab, we have streaming, recording, audio, replay buffer, and you want to make sure that this output mode is actually on advanced. This is most likely going to be set to simple for you, so just be sure to change that. Next, you can go to recording, and you're going to be changing the recording path to your path that you want your videos to go to. Now, if you are getting the stopping recording bug where the recording just refuses to end, what you want to do is you actually want to cut down the amount of audio tracks that you actually record to. I used to record to 3 audio tracks specifically, and I've made sure to balance them so I only record to 1 now. Make sure that your encoder is going to be set to the graphics card that you have. I don't know what AMD uses, but I'm using the NVIDIA new one. Now put your rate control at CQP and make sure that the CQ level is 15. I used to previously have this at 24, but I found 15 to be a lot more smooth once the renders are actually done. Keyframe interval at 0. Put your preset at max performance. I used to have this at max quality, but max performance, I have not noticed a single difference in OBS. There's not really much encoding lag anymore. Max performance just tends to work better for me. Put your profile at high. Uncheck these two right here. Put your GPU and max speed frames at 0. Moving on to the video tab, I have my base and output scaled resolution to 1920 by 1080. Also make sure to put your downscale filter at bilinear. Now the FPS itself, I have this at 360/1, and make sure that this option is set to fractional. It's going to give you one box to enter your FPS in, and it doesn't let you go above 60. So if you do want to frame blend and create a sort of motion blur in your videos, make sure to set this at fractional and put this at, you can either use 120, 240, 360. This value really doesn't matter. Make sure to play around with it for your PC itself. By the way, editor Mantif here, I forgot to include the last setting page in the original recording, so just be sure to copy down these settings exactly. And also just a side note for my OBS itself, make sure to run it as administrator before you actually start recording. And once you do run OBS as administrator, you only have to do this once, but make sure to go to view, scroll down to docs, and then go to stats. And this is going to be displaying your stats at the top of your OBS here. And once you have these stats actually enabled, you can right click the preview and disable your preview. Now, disabling your preview is going to be extremely beneficial because once you are recording in a high FPS, your computer needs to process all of that video and then play it back on your OBS. And what that's going to do is it's going to bog down your processor and or your GPU, and disabling the preview kind of just ensures that you're going to get the most FPS possible within the game. Next, to edit my videos, I actually use Vegas Pro 16. I have since upgraded from 14 to 16, and I will be explaining why in a second here. Once you actually do load into Vegas though, you do want to go to File, New, and then copy down these settings right here. Now the reason why I have the resample mode at disable resample is because for the playback of the video itself, it's not going to lag at all. It's going to make it a lot smoother to edit, and if you want to quickly just render out something to see how it looks, you can do that without the sampling itself. And the resample mode actually creates this motion blur that we see in the videos with a high FPS. That's what Smart Resample does, and I just have it at disable, and I will be changing that in a second once our videos are in and ready to edit. Now Vegas is going to give you an option here saying, do you want to set your project video settings to match this media? This time you actually want to say yes, because you're going to see this value here, the 59.94 FPS, pretty much 60. It's going to be changing to 360 FPS as soon as you click yes on that. So now your project settings are going to adhere to what you've recorded in OBS with the settings that we just set up. And as you can see, because we have disabled the resampling, the video is actually playing back at almost its full 360 FPS without a problem. Alright, so you've officially finished editing your video. It's all ready to go. How do you render this? Well, first thing that you need to do is press Ctrl and A on your keyboard, and that's going to select all the clips here. Next, you want to head to the Video Effects tab here on your Vegas. Scroll down until you see this option called LUT Filter. Now, you're not going to have this option here. You're going to have the default. So what you want to do is you just want to drag the default onto the clips here that are already highlighted from the Ctrl A. And once you're there, all you got to do is click Browse, and then I'm going to be leaving this file in the description below. All you need to do is just load this once, so you can either just double click it or press Open right here. Once it's loaded up, all you got to do is just press on the interpolation here and then press tetrahedral. And then what you can do is you can actually name the preset something else. So let's say I wanted to name it color corrector. You can just press the save icon here and it'll be available for all your future videos. Now, before you actually do render out your project in Vegas, here's what we need to do in order to ensure that you're getting the motion blur for the FPS that you did record. You want to head up to the settings icon in the top left of your preview right here. And what you want to do is you want to change the resample mode from disable resample to smart resample. Then you can click apply. You'll notice the FPS changed to 120. That's no problem. We're going to be rendering in 60 anyways. So once the color corrector is actually put on, all we got to do is press on the file and then render as. You can't really see it, but there's going to be a render as button beneath my face cam. And you're going to be brought to this menu right here with a ton of options, but don't worry, I'm going to be guiding you through it. So what you need to do is you need to press on the Magix AVC AAC MP4. And this is part of the reason why I actually upgraded to Vegas 16 is because it had this sort of preset available, where Vegas 14, I was only limited to doing Windows Media Video V11 for the best effect. But you're going to see all these options right here. What you want to do is you just want to press the one that says Internet HD 1080p 59.94 FPS and make sure that it has the NVIDIA NVEC after it. That is going to be the encoder for your graphics card. So once you're here, all you got to do is just customize the template and then be sure to copy down all the settings from my template here. And then once you're done, you can name it whatever you want and then save it. Call the file whatever you want once you've actually set up your profile and then click render. All right, so we have finished actually rendering out our video here. And as you can see, I just labeled it test recording.mp4. And if we actually right click this and hit properties, you'll see that on the details, this is going to be 1920 by 1080, not the 4K resolution. And this is where we get into the next part, which is going to be upscaling your video. Now, the reason that we actually do this is because YouTube is going to be placing a separate encoder called VP09 on your video, and it's going to look 20 times better than what it would be like with the AVC something. I don't know what their encoder is called, dude. I don't know. So in order to do this, you're going to be downloading a file called FFmpeg, and I'm going to be leaving this link in the description below. I promise everything's safe, no virus whatsoever. As you can see, I got this message here saying Windows protected your PC. That's no problem. Just go to more info and run anyway. The reason it does this is because it's from an unknown publisher and the author's name actually isn't on the program itself, so Windows isn't going to trust it. But yeah, once you finish installing FFmpeg, give your computer a restart and make a folder on your desktop or wherever on your hard drive called Upscaling, or just wherever you're going to be saving your videos to before they get upscaled to 4K. You're going to need a separate folder for this. Right-click in the folder and then create new text document. You can call this whatever you want. I'm just going to call it convert. Once you double click your text document, this blank window is going to open, and then copy the code that I leave in the description below into this sort of document here, and be sure to change where the pathway is to this folder. So as you can see, this is on my secondary hard drive, videos upscaling. You want to just copy this right here, this sort of pathway, and then paste it after the CD right here. So once you've actually pasted in your code, what you want to do is you want to file, save as, and then be sure to change this save as type to all files, and then change the end of it to .bat. This is going to be able to allow you to actually run the code itself. You can actually get rid of the .txt if you want to, so I'll just go Shift Delete. Rename this recording to Untitled.mp4. My computer actually froze here during the original recording when I tried to upscale the video to 4K. Nonetheless though, all you gotta do is just double click the convert.bat and it's gonna bring up a command prompt window. And this all depends on your processor and GPU speed, so don't get frustrated if it takes a little bit longer than usual. It should still be able to render in 4K, no problem. When you actually do right click this new file and then hit properties, you're now gonna see that in the details, it is gonna be 4K resolution. On top of that, the file size is going to be significantly higher, meaning that there is going to be some sort of quality increase, which is always what we want. So yeah, you can upload this video to YouTube straight away. You can rename it whatever you want. I just keep mine as upload.mp4 for simplicity. And then once I'm done, I just delete these two files and work on my next video. So yeah, I do hope that you guys found this video very helpful. And if you did, be sure to drop a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. The pack used in this video is going to be linked in the description below, as well as all the materials that I mentioned in the video itself. So be sure to have a look down in the description below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Peace, peace.